There's no law ever written that says, well, all black people must have zero wealth. Every black person's got to be poor. That's a requirement. To be being black means you must be broke. No, there's no law like that. What it says is that there are some systematic variables that increase the probability of your wealth being zero if you're black. Some of those variables are systemic, like racism. We know that's real. White people stole all your money. They owe you reparations. I will never walk away from that point. Um, some of them are cultural. Like you grew up learning how to manage your money from people who maybe did not have the skill set when it came to managing money. They didn't know how to properly manage the money that they had, so they passed down toxic financial choices down to you, right? So ultimately, uh, consciousness is important because consciousness is the cure for culture. Consciousness consciousness curates culture. That would be triple C. Consciousness curates culture. How about that? And when I say it's a cure for culture, I mean it's a cure for bad culture, right? Because a lot of culture is connected to your habits. It's like, well, what do I just do every day just out of habit? Well, I get that from my culture, right? My culture tells me to turn on BET. My culture tells me to listen to certain kinds of music. My culture tells me, that hip hop is my favorite genre and all, right? So culture tells me that I should do stuff the way my grandma did it, who I vote for, where I spend my money, or where, going to church, all that, right? So ultimately, consciousness is critical for any person that wants to rise up out of a negative culture. If you're conscious and you say, well, I really don't have to be here. I know all y'all smoking and drinking, but I ain't got to smoke and drink with you. And so that's me being conscious and saying, I think I'm going to get away from this because I don't think that all the drinking and all the smoking is good for me as a black man. This is me telling on myself. This was my real experience. So with that, um, if you talk about wealth, there's nothing about being black that says that your wealth has to be negative. So stop believing the bullshit. Excuse my French. I cussed today. I didn't mean it. It's a Sunday. Stop it, boys. Okay, I won't do it anymore. But don't believe the BS. There's nothing about being black that says you're supposed to be broke. There's nothing about being black that says you have just these insurmountable barriers. If you talk specifically about Apple, every single one of you has probably bought an iPhone, and most of you have. How many of you have ever bought an iPhone for yourself or somebody else? Give me a yes in the chat if you've ever bought an iPhone. Right? Let me know. Like how many iPhone purchasers are there? In fact, I bet a lot of you have. Did you know that this is crazy? Um, did y'all know that 90% of teenagers own an iPhone? 90%, that's insane. That's crazy. Also, if the iPhone by itself were a corporation, it would be worth more than Nike, Coca-Cola, Netflix, and McDonald's combined. Combined. If the iPhone was a company, it would be worth more than Nike, Coca-Cola, Netflix, and McDonald's combined. Holy crap, that's insane.